We heard you, but Natasha would not back down from those comments today in practice. She said, what do you want me to say? Ah, shucks, we're just going to really try our best. She said, we are going to have a championship mindset tonight and bring one home.
Well, this building has been an incredible home court advantage all season for the Washington Mystics. And they are swaying into Game 5 as we take a look at the starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Connecticut Sun. They have used the same starting 5 in every single game this season. This group of 5 has played more minutes together than any group of 5 in the history of this league in a single season. Meanwhile, for the Washington Mystics, perhaps the most important news when it comes to their starting lineup, Elena Delle Donne saying she is feeling significantly better, and the entire playbook is now open as she gets further removed from that small herniated disc in her back. The Mystics 14-2 in this building in the regular season. They are 3-1 in the playoffs, and the first quarter has determined these games through the first 4. As you can see, one team has gotten out to a huge lead, and that team has gone on to win that game. Game 5 is underway as Connecticut wins the tip.
Look for Connecticut to try to establish Jonquel Jones early in this game. They play better when they can get her some touches, especially in the mid to low post.
Williams creeping inside, left alone, and just pops it in. Both defenders all of a sudden were shooed away, and Williams said, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Here is Tolliver finding a cutting Delle Donne, already a touchdown low, no call. But yes, a whistle does come in late, and I believe it's against Alyssa Thomas. That is her first.
Most coaches in this league, including Mike Tebow, script out their first couple of plays. This is how they feel about Elena Delle Donne's health. Get her a touch inside early.
Rebecca, I know something you brought up to me earlier today at shoot-around was a concern with Connecticut and foul trouble in this game in particular.
Well, Washington has a much deeper bench, and this is a Game 5 not only for the players, this is a Game 5 for the officials. And I think the officials have been very, very good throughout the course of these finals. The one player Connecticut cannot afford to get into foul trouble is Alyssa Thomas, and she has one here early.
Thomas has sat just 29 seconds through the first 4 games of these finals. And an early foul here in the first. Roy Gobert, Mai Forsberg, Eric Bruton are our officials. Strickland on the drive, barrels in, can't finish, gets it back, and misses the bank. Tolliver, the only player between both teams with a title. Delle Donne, another touch. Double comes. Cloud got Strickland in the air. 7 to shoot. Atkins tees it up. In and out.
Another player to keep an eye on, you know, we talked about Elena Delle Donne and her health, is Kristi Tolliver.
Here comes Atkins. Speeding down the floor. Missed it badly, but then Williams couldn't grab the rebound, and Natasha Cloud says, calm down. Mike Tebow telling us before the game when it comes to Cloud, he needs guidance from her on the floor. Tolliver says, why not? And hits.
When Washington has won in these finals games, it's been when Kristi Tolliver has been productive and efficient from the field.
Alyssa Thomas's floater is good.
That's Alyssa Thomas's game. Jonquel Jones also had nice position on the block. Has she gotten a touch yet, Ryan? I don't think so.
Not yet. Good hands by Jasmine Thomas, and here comes Alyssa. Pushing pace. Alyssa Thomas trying to find an angle and does.
Best facilitating forward in the league right now. Handle end to end, get the defensive board, and so strong finishing.
Tied a finals record with 11 assists in Connecticut's Game 4 win. She has been the MVP for the Sun through the first 4 games. Delle Donne ducks inside, misses the bank. Jones skies in for the rebound.
But Washington has a commitment to play through Elena Delle Donne.
Here is Jones finally getting a touch. Isolating on Delle Donne and beating her to the spot.
That's going to be a tough defensive matchup for Elena Delle Donne.
We saw Connecticut seek her out in game 4, knowing the back wasn't quite right. Sanders jumper, yeah. Latoya Sanders, who has iron deficient anemia, got an infusion before the finals, has played great D, scores there. Strickland, cut X on a 3. And there probably could have been a loose ball foul against Connecticut before it. Cloud busting to the rim.
Cloud has had a lot of success in this series since game 2 when Shakina Strickland was put on her as the matchup of driving past Strickland, getting in the paint.
Here's Jones, another touch, this time mid-post. Jones digging in, can't hook it home. Williams flicked it off Atkins, controlled by Delle Donne. Delle Donne, Thomas has to be careful already with one foul as Delle Donne squeezes it in.
Completely different Elena Delle Donne than we saw in game 3. Game 4, she got closer to what she can do, but she's looking pretty spry out here, Ryan.
The two-time MVP seeking her first title as Williams just left alone again at the rim.
Blew by, right by Natasha Cloud.
Courtney Williams with 4 points in this first quarter. We showed you the graphic at the start of the game. The winning team has had a double-digit lead after the first quarter in each of the first 4 games of this series. It's been more tightly played thus far through the first half of this first. Atkins flips it in. Williams pulls up, too strong. Delle Donne the rebound and a chance for Washington to go back in front. Tolliver, you bet! Jones using the footwork, can't finish. Gets it back though, seeking help, flips it in. Persistent effort from Jonquel Jones.
Connecticut has to love to see that because she continues to fight. Gets blocked, gets bumped, persists. And yet she persists, Ryan.
Atkins, catch, fire, no. Delle Donne the long board, short on her jumper, another offensive rebound, it's good. Atkins on the follow. Jones, 3, short. Thomas gets fouled on the loose ball. And there will finally be a timeout. What action early in the first on the night of Champions Crown.
Welcome back to Washington here with Connecticut star Jonquel Jones. And already you have gone straight in at Elena Delle Donne. How are you trying to take advantage of her back situation?
Yeah, she's not quicker than me. I can take off the dribble every time.
You almost got denied in there. You got the ball back and muscled it in. What is different about your mindset? You won't be denied tonight.
Do or die, that's it.
Jonquel, what is the mindset in your team right now getting back into this?
We need to box out. We're making them miss shots, but we got to get the stop. We got to box out, put a body on somebody. The body's not going to come.
And so you see an example of it right there. Jonquel Jones getting on the offensive glass. That's where she had so much success in game 2. 9 offensive rebounds in that game. Relentlessly goes there every single time. And Washington at times in this series has done an outstanding job boxing out. That's got to be a priority here as well.
Williams switched on Delle Donne, finds the space but not the bucket. Jonquel Jones another offensive rebound. And another chance for Connecticut. Jones, good moves inside for 2. And this is a determined Jonquel Jones in the first. 6 points, 4 rebounds. We've already had 3 lead changes in this first quarter. There have been 6 lead changes through the first 4 games. And if that's on Alyssa Thomas, that's her second, and it is.
First, we see Jonquel Jones on the offensive end, staying active, getting to the offensive glass, then slipping the screen to score. Ryan, these officials have been letting Alyssa Thomas do this through the semifinals, play this physically, and let her play like this throughout the course of the finals. I'm really surprised that they called that second foul on her.
The first one was questionable as well, and I'll tell you what, partner, you nailed that. You called it before the game began as Delle Donne can't squeeze it in. It's out of bounds off of Connecticut. It stays with Washington. But Alyssa Thomas, who sat just 29 seconds through the first 4 games, has to go to the bench here with 2 fouls in the first quarter, both debatable.
And if you've been allowed to play a certain way for the last, 7 games of the playoffs, you expect that baseline in game 5 of the finals.
So now Morgan Tuck in for Thomas, a player Jasmine Thomas told us would have to give them big minutes off the bench tonight. A chance here, off on a 3.
That's what Morgan Tuck brings that's different from Alyssa Thomas, is the ability to hit from the perimeter.
Cloud too strong. Jones another rebound. Emma Miesemann and Ariel Powers both in off the bench for Washington. Powers actually led Washington in scoring in game 4. Here is Tuck setting up Jones. Good look for Williams. Doesn't take the 3, instead drives it, can't finish it.
That's a 3 that Courtney Williams has been making throughout the course of the playoffs.
And gets the whistle on Strickland. 2 shots coming for Natasha Cloud.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting through.
Let's look at that Alyssa Thomas second foul again, Rebecca.
She's been allowed to do that in every single game of the playoffs, Ryan. Every single game. To put a player on the bench with that foul, I mean,
that is a horrendous second call. But you talked about it, Rebecca, something to keep in mind, that it's a game 5 for the officials as well, and sometimes they can be jittery and anxious themselves.
Yeah, of course. Adrenaline, nerves, all those things are coursing through not only the athletes, but the officials too.
Cloud cashes in on 2 free throws. A 19-17 Washington lead and a much more tightly played first quarter than we've seen in this series. Jones getting plenty of first quarter touches. Misses the jumper. Bria Holmes cleans it up and is fouled on the loose ball.
Box out! Box out!
I mean, it's been the difference for so much of the series is Connecticut's ability to get on the offensive glass or Washington's ability to box out and keep them away from those second chances.
And that's going to be an offensive foul going the other way as Shekinna Strickland is going to be hit with her second. So 2 on Strickland, 2 on Thomas for Connecticut. And partner, you saw this coming. So Connecticut will have to rely on their bench a bit more than they're used to as Miesemann, oh, the feathery touch. Emma Miesemann has been dynamite in these playoffs. Pick and roll, and Tuck able to finish off the delivery from Strickland.
Shekinna Strickland, partly because of her size at the guard position and her vision, is a terrific passer when she has players rolling to the hoop or entry pass into the post.
Good hands by Strickland. Miesemann on the move, hooks it in. Difficult angle, but not for Emma.
Man, she's good. And she has really elevated her play in the playoffs.
They call her Playoff Emma for a reason. Tuck lines it up, can't knock it down. 2-for-1 opportunity for Washington. Powers will take. Short.
That's not a shot Mike Tebow wants. One player coming down, dribbling multiple times, and then hoisting.
Jasmine Thomas slithering, dishing. Here comes Bria Holmes. On the attack, Holmes able to draw the whistle. And that looked a bit questionable as well, as Holmes will shoot 2.
Emma Meeseman has been such a bright spot for the Washington Mystics in these playoffs. 6'4", the ability to face and hit shots out to the 3, but she's also very active, cutting through the lane, finishing.
Holmes misses the first. This is the YouTube TV Try It free throw. Watch WNBA games and 70+ live channels when you try YouTube TV for free at tvyoutube.com. Connecticut, who shot at just 70% from the line as a team during the regular season, has shot at 85% in these finals.
I mean, you can't even really explain how that has happened, or the way Alyssa Thomas in particular has become a good free throw shooter in the playoffs.
5 seconds left in the quarter. Walker Kimbrough short. Long rebound. Tolliver flings it up. And that will do it for the first. A much tighter opening quarter than we have seen yet in this series. It's Washington who leads by 3 after 1 in a winner-take-all Game 5 with a championship on the line tonight.
The WNBA Finals 2019 is presented by YouTube TV and AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And Taco Bell Party Packs, the ultimate party starter.
Welcome back to Washington here with Connecticut coach Kurt Miller. And coach, you wanted Jonquel Jones to get touches early in the game. How has she imposed her will so far?
Yeah, doing a better job getting touches early. Don't want her to settle for those fadeaways. I think she can power to the rim, but she's been very aggressive wanting the ball. Got to keep AT out of foul trouble, though.
How long can you keep her on the bench with those 2 fouls?
Yeah, we'll go back. She's smart, but as we talked about pregame, we knew they were going to go at us inside. The foul discrepancy last game at the foul line was a big deal. They had the advantage early. We've got to continue to find ways to the foul line.
Thank you, coach.
Thanks.
Well, a big bucket from Christy Tolliver to begin the second quarter, a chance for a 3-point play. And Tolliver, who told us she did not feel good at all in Game 4 as she continues to deal with a sprained MCL and a bone bruise in her knee. Looking very sprightly so far in this game as Jones can't finish, but a foul inside as we check in with Holly Rowe.
I spoke with Christy Tolliver today, and she said her body was feeling very sore, but she knew that she had 40 more minutes and she could tough it out. She has taken a shot to take away some of that inflammation and pain, but she is giving it her all on that bone bruise and partially sprained MCL. But Christy Tolliver, some of her movement has been limited. We'll see how much she's able to drive to the basket and really push off that knee. You can see the heavy brace on that on that right knee.
Holly, I think she's looked great so far on the offensive end of the floor. There was one time early where Shakina Strickland was able to drive on her, but you saw the difference in her when she's had 1 day rest and multiple days rest. But this is the best I've seen her in the playoffs. I know it's early, but on 1 day rest.
Walker Kimbrough into Hawkins, 2 members of Washington's formidable bench. Hawkins doesn't get the roll. Powers nearly got the rebound. Alyssa Thomas in with those 2 fouls. Here's Bria Holmes. That is not her shot, but she connects on it.
Bria Holmes is a driver. That's what she does so well. It's a bonus for Connecticut if she can hit that mid-range.
Tolliver with 8 points thus far. Meeseman looks off the 3 and then threw it into traffic as Alyssa Thomas is fouled in transition by Tolliver. And it looked like Alyssa Thomas was almost throwing the ball at Tolliver afterwards, but missed.
Alyssa Thomas asking the officials for a monitor review because she's saying Christy Tolliver hit her in the throat.
And now Mai Forsberg and Roy Gilbane conferencing about it.
Mai just said to her, Alyssa, please don't throw the ball like that. Which is a good way for an official to handle it.
That's a nice diffusing of it. Holmes forced to pass over to Thomas. Thomas isolating on Hawkins. Her push shot is good. And this game has its 5th tie. Already 3 lead changes. A 6-0 Connecticut run. Elena Deladon out there for Washington with Meeseman, Hawkins, Tolliver, and Walker Kimbrough.
And Ryan, this is a really good offensive lineup and the big lineup for the Washington Mystics. Great high-low pass from Meeseman to Elena Delle Donne, but it is not their best defensive lineup.
Jasmine Thomas turns the corner, misses the pull-up. Here comes Tolliver. Not a great shot from Jasmine Thomas. Tolliver step back, rims out. Alyssa Thomas off and running, hits Strickland on the run for two.
We've seen already since she came back in the game the importance of Alyssa Thomas to the Connecticut Sun on the offensive end of the floor.
Meeseman spins, dishes, Walker Kimbrough, short. Here comes Thomas pushing pace again for Connecticut. Alyssa Thomas a little too ambitious with that lead. Here comes Delle Donne, knocked out of bounds by Brianna Jones, who has given Connecticut some nice minutes off the bench so far tonight.
And with this big lineup, great high-low pass over Alyssa Thomas for Elena Delle Donne, an easy two the other way. And what does Connecticut want to do? They want to get the board, especially if Alyssa Thomas has it in her hands, and run the other way. Facilitating forward, getting it done again.
Morgan Tuck, Courtney Williams back in for Connecticut. Jones stays out there with Alyssa and Jasmine Thomas. Jonquel Jones on the bench for the moment for Connecticut. Delle Donne attacking Alyssa with those two fouls. Can't finish. Offensive board Atkins. Then open on the block to bank it in.
Ariel Atkins' effort has really made a difference already in this game, getting to the offensive glass.
Here's Alyssa Thomas spinning and finishing. 8 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds for Alyssa Thomas. She has averaged 18, 8.5, and 8 through the first 4 games of these finals. Hawkins nearly lost it. Got it over to Meeseman. Meeseman has it banged away from her. Williams diving to the floor. Meeseman back on it, 4 to shoot. Delle Donne trying to make something happen. No. And a strong defensive possession there from Connecticut.
Talked about the minutes from Brianna Jones. She did really well. And in situations where she was defending out on the perimeter, she did not get beat, had quick hands. Nice job for the bench for both of these teams so far in this game.
Mike Thibault, the winningest coach in Connecticut Sun history, seeking his first ever WNBA title. He is the winningest coach in league history as well. Jones has the mismatch on Tolliver and cans it over.
I was about to say that's a bad shot. Wow.
The Bahamian Beast feeling confident. 8 points, 5 rebounds for Jonquel Jones. Atkins over to Meeseman. Her jumper, no. Rebound, Alyssa Thomas trying to gather and does. Veering through traffic, finds Jones. Off on a 3, and the rebound left for Delle Donne. Neither team has led by more than 6. 7 ties, 4 lead changes. Delle Donne hooks it up and gets the whistle on Jonquel Jones. It'll be the first on Jones.
At 6'6", has some of the skills of a guard like Kevin Durant. Here with the spin, the fade, knee up, ball down. Back in DC, where the Connecticut Sun have a 2-point lead on the Washington Mystics, much because of the effort of Jonquel Jones in this series. When she has played well, Connecticut has won games. They've gotten her the ball early. She's been to the offensive glass early, making tough shots early. Jonquel Jones has come to play here in Game 5.
And Jonquel Jones has had quite a journey, Holly Rowe.
She's come a long way from Kwaku Street in Freeport, Bahamas, where her father gave her her first basket by cutting out the bottom of a milk crate and nailing it to a post. She said, we used to shoot out there all day for hours. Fast forward to her career at George Washington. This month has been especially difficult after Hurricane Dorian destroyed much of her hometown, including much of her parents' home and her sister's home where water rose to the roof. But when she gets done with Game 5, she'll go home and start helping to rebuild her hometown, where she has elicited donations so she can help get that city that started her basketball career back on their feet.
And Holly, what was so fun to hear Jonquel Jones say is, hey, we don't just have the state of Connecticut behind us, we have an entire country behind us. She said, we'll have 2 parades if we win. One in Connecticut and one back in the Bahamas.
What a great representative of both George Washington University and the Bahamas.
And interestingly enough, Jonquel said she first realized she could play in the WNBA when Coach Mike Tebow began watching her at practice at George Washington. Now Tebow coaches against her here in this pivotal Game 5. 2 to shoot. Tuck lost it. Jones taps it. Shot clock violation. The volleyball set wasn't going to work.
Did you see the bodies around Jonquel Jones when she had the catch in the mid-post? There was her primary defender and then 2 other players shadowing towards her. She's a good passer. When the double comes, she knows how to pass out of it.
Much different first half from what we've had the previous 4 games, when the winning team had gotten out to a double-digit lead in the first half, and then watch the other team come soaring back as Tolliver just blew the bunny. Jasmine Thomas finds a cutting Jonquel Jones, and a foul called underneath against Natasha Cloud.
Hey, you stay in the cup. I got your help on the other side.
Okay. Let's take a look at what I was talking about in the previous possession. Look, primary defender reposts. Right before that, 3 players around her. She's going to draw a lot of attention.
Jones hits the first free throw. For the latest on all things WNBA Finals, including scores, news, and highlights, get the WNBA app. Download for free today from the App Store. Kurt Miller has been insistent upon his team getting Jonquel Jones touches. Also said, hey, the key tonight is going to be us staying who we are when Washington makes their run. He knows his team is a little bit more temperamental than Washington. Washington very laid back as a group, and he was a little concerned with how they would handle things when Washington and this crowd really get going. So far, they've weathered the storm nicely. 6 to shoot. Atkins gets it into Deladon. Double comes. 2 to shoot. Cloud beats the buzzer. Can't finish. Alyssa Thomas the rebound. Looking to push for Connecticut. Courtney Williams finds Jonquel, center of the lane. Tried to force it to Thomas, couldn't. Deladon maybe fouled by Jonquel Jones, no call. Sanders jumper, And Washington has looked a little sped up at times on offense. Jasmine Thomas has it knocked from behind, and Connecticut will retain possession. Sometimes the Game 5 jitters, if you will, are noticeable. Have you seen that at all in this first half, Rebecca?
A little bit. A little bit. You know, it's natural. You want to win the game sometimes in one possession or a series of possessions. They'll settle in.
Double comes. Strickland open. Too strong on a 3. Williams fights for the board. Able to save it, but no. She was out of bounds, but Courtney Williams has been giving incredible effort tonight.
Terrific effort and energy going to the offensive glass. And right here, she's one of the best rebounding small guards in the WNBA. She will attack.
Perhaps a manifestation of those nerves. Connecticut 1 of 6 from 3. Washington 1 of 10. These are the teams who had the most threes in the WNBA this season, as Thomas comes away with it. Alyssa Thomas drops it, picks it back up, can't finish. Great rejection in transition from Sanders, but then a foul on Atkins, and Washington is over the limit.
Shekinna Strickland. There have been times where she's had some struggles one-on-one defensively, but she is an outstanding team defender, and that's one of the reasons she got her hands on the basketball.
Ooh. Could have been on Jasmine Thomas.
Yeah. There's a lot of whistles so far in this game.
A lot of whistles, and as questionable as those first 2 fouls were on Alyssa Thomas, Washington certainly has had some of their own gripes since. 2 fouls now on Atkins, 2 on Natasha Cloud, as Jasmine Thomas misses the first free throw, and Atkins will head to the bench.
You know, the Washington Mystics on the season averaged 15.5 fouls per game. They were by far the fewest in the WNBA. Much like in Game 4, they're getting in foul trouble early. 9 fouls so far in this first half for Washington.
Jasmine Thomas misses both free throws. She's 0 for 2 from the floor, does have 4 assists. Cloud, the straight line drive for 2.
Great patience. Great patience by Washington. Their action set up the straight line drive on the weak side.
9 ties, 4 lead changes in this first half. And an offensive foul against Jonquel Jones. And that is number 2 on Jonquel.
You have to be physical and beat a player to the spot. And yeah, Sanders beats her to the spot, and Jonquel initiates the contact. You can't do that.
3:02 to go in the first half. A winner-take-all Game 5, and it's tied at 34.
Hey, focus in on me. This is going to be a game of high emotions. We understand it. But that doesn't break us apart. It brings us together. We got to fight through together. None of the chippiness. We don't need it. Talk to each other calmly. We can solve stuff.
Well, Natasha Cloud making sure to provide her team with the guidance that Mike Thibault said he would need from her tonight. He said, I just need my group to be themselves and we'll be fine. Tie game. 2:45 to go in the first half of Game 5. Delle Donne massages her way to space.
Out of timeout, no surprise. Mike Thibault had Kristi Tolliver and Elena Delle Donne in action. Ends up with an isolation for the MVP, who is playing like that here tonight.
In the last 6.5 minutes, neither team has led by more than 2. Great dish from Jonquel Jones, and Alyssa Thomas will shoot 2.
Alyssa Thomas has 2 fouls, and when she's out there trying to guard the MVP, Elena Delle Donne knows that. She's going to attack, step through. She has the elevation. That was her question this morning with us, Ride. Will I have the elevation? And she has. Strong with the ball, high release point. Good luck defending that.
Alyssa Thomas makes the first free throw. This has been a major story in these finals. We've talked about Alyssa Thomas's torn labrums in each shoulder, how she shot it under 50% from the line this season. But in the finals, look at those numbers for Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, ridiculous that she's been able to shoot so well after struggling all season long.
And she hits them both. This game tied again. 5 lead changes, 10 ties in this first half. In the first 4 games combined, there were 12 ties and 6 lead changes as Tolliver throws it away.
But we see again action where you have Kristi Tolliver and Elena Delle Donne on the same side of the floor. It puts so much pressure on your defense.
Starting 5 on the floor for Connecticut. Courtney Williams had some space for a moment, instead going to drive it, forces it into Alyssa Thomas, who lays it home. Alyssa Thomas with 12 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of assists. Cloud around the... It's going to be foul number 3 on Jonquel Jones. Unless they call it on Courtney Williams, they do not. That is foul number 3 on Jonquel Jones.
These drives by Natasha Cloud have been there throughout the series, and this is one, if you're Jonquel Jones, you just gotta let it go. The 2 points you're giving up are less important than the foul.
Well, and at this point, if you're Kurt Miller, don't you have to get Jones out of this game?
Yes.
And so far, no sub at the table. Coming up on the WNBA Halftime Report presented by State Farm, Holly Rose sits down with Washington Wizards star Bradley Beal right there in the building, enjoying the game. That plus we'll have all the first half stats and highlights, and Rebecca will break down the action.
Think he'll share his popcorn with me?
I think so. He knows during a broadcast you get peckish.
I do sometimes get peckish.
How about Jones on the floor still with those 3 fouls? Williams around the Thomas screen, buries the jumper.
Jonquel Jones did not crash the offensive glass there.
Staying out here, this is very dangerous. See if Washington looks to take advantage as Miesemann cans the 3. Just the second 3 of the half for Washington. Jones will fire and hit. Just the second 3 of the half for Connecticut. The legs awakening on the shooters in this third game in 5 days. Meeseman again. Not that time. Alyssa Thomas lobs it inside. Deep catch. Jones couldn't finish. 2-for-1 opportunity for Washington. A scintillating first half. And a timeout taken by Mike Thibault. We'll step aside for a moment. 31.3 seconds to go in the second quarter. Connecticut a 3-point edge in winner-take-all Game 5. It's best of 5 WNBA Finals. There were just 12 ties and 6 lead changes total. Tonight, in the first half of Game 5, there have already been 11 ties and 6 lead changes.
I'm sad that this is a 5-game series instead of 7. This has been such good basketball.
The 2-time MVP, Elena Delle Donne, seeking her first title, moving so much better tonight. 10 points, 4 rebounds in this first half. 13-second difference game in shot clock. Delle Donne tosses over to Meeseman. Jonquel Jones is now out of the game with those 3 fouls as Powers gets free for the leg.
We've seen a couple times now. Emma Meeseman, really good vision, good cutting off the ball.
And Jasmine Thomas will take a timeout. Kurt Miller will draw something up himself for Connecticut's final possession of the half. 43-42, Connecticut in front with 13.8 to go in this first half. Rebecca, when you just look at the way this first half has been played, what stands out most to you?
Well, both coaches talked to us before the game and said, you know, we just want to stay within ourselves. I don't want any of my players trying to do too much in the moment. They both have to feel really good about the way their teams have played on both ends of the floor. Players have come to play and are acquitting themselves nicely, giving us some good basketball.
All right. Let's bring Courtney up. All right, up there. All right, and then clear right here. All right, and then clear. All right, everybody that way. Come back up here. Everybody's going. All right, and clear out that side for JJ. All right, JJ setting the downstream. All right, there.
Okay, is it 42?
Yeah, just run 42. Go huddle at 42. That side. Just run 42. Don't clear. Don't clear. Don't clear.
So Jonquel Jones back in the basketball game, run some action, get her isolated so that they can play through her for the final shot.
Connecticut a 1-point lead. 13.8 seconds to go in this first half. Williams waiting. Here comes the screen from Alyssa Thomas. Williams gets the mismatch on Meeseman. 2 seconds left. Williams trying to find space, and it's out of bounds. That will do it for the first half. What an exciting opening half of action in this winner-take-all Game 5. Connecticut, a 1-point lead after 2 quarters of play. Each of these teams fighting for their franchise first ever title. One of them will get it tonight. 43-42 the score at the half, and Alyssa Thomas is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Alyssa, you have not been on the bench more than 29 seconds in the entire series until tonight. How did you adapt to those early 2 foul calls?
I mean, it's the finals. You know, it's a tough matchup. They're calling it tight right now, so I just try to stay as straight up as possible.
It's a very different Elena Delle Donne tonight than the last 2 games. How are you adjusting to how physical and how mobile she is?
I mean, this is the normal Elena out here, doing what she usually does. This is what I expected. It's Game 5. It's all or nothing, so I got to do a better job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our score here at the half, Connecticut 43, Washington 42. Alyssa Thomas with 12 points, 6 rebounds in that opening half. Elena Delle Donne, the only member of the Mystics in double figures. Stay tuned for the WNBA Halftime Report with the Washington Wizards' Bradley Beal, presented by State Farm. It's coming up after these messages. Welcome back to the WNBA Finals 2019, presented by YouTube TV. Getting ready to start the third quarter of Game 5. A title on the line. Connecticut, a 1-point lead. Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. That first half, the Stars played like stars, especially Jonquel Jones for Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, Jonquel Jones has been such a determining factor for Connecticut in these finals. When she plays well, when she gets touches, when she gets to the offensive glass, Connecticut has so much success, and she had an absolute attack mentality from the start of this game. Got to the offensive boards, demanded the basketball in the post, and she's been able to hit from the perimeter as well. She is such an important piece for the Connecticut Sun, and she's come through so far in the first 20 minutes.
Take a look at the first half stats. So even, and the three-point shooting almost shocking to especially see Washington shoot it that poorly from deep.
This is a Washington team that I would assume those numbers, those averages will correct, because they were the best three-point shooting team in terms of makes this season.
Alyssa Thomas has 2 fouls guarding Delle Donne. Delle Donne elevates, short, rebound pushed into the corner, and it's out of bounds off of Washington.
And because we have a healthy Elena Delle Donne, Washington runs the first play, no surprise, through her in the block.
We heard Alyssa Thomas tell Holly just before halftime that this is the normal Elena Delle Donne out here. Much different than what we saw in games 3 and 4, dealing with that small herniation of a disc in her back. Jonquel Jones isolating and finishing.
See the patience? Jonquel Jones had the ball. Courtney Williams cut. She looked for it, but wasn't hurried. Ended up taking the shot.
Jones playing with 3 fouls. Tolliver step back is good. Christy Tolliver has a penchant for burying buckets in the big moment. 10 points tonight for Tolliver. Williams gets the step and pushes it in. Some strong shot making to begin the third quarter.
WNBA basketball, that's what it's all about.
Alyssa Thomas nearly got tangled up with Delle Donne. Here is Tolliver isolating against Jasmine Thomas. Tolliver going one-on-one. Tolliver fading, and rebound Sanders, and a foul underneath. If that's Jonquel Jones, that's number 4. Instead, it'll be Strickland in number 3.
Christy Tolliver looking to get her shot off here.
Felt like a play on.
Yeah, it did.
They have called it very tightly here in Game 5. Cloud steps into a 3, missed it badly. Thomas, her 7th rebound, finds Strickland. Here's Alyssa. One-on-one with Sanders. Lobs it up to Jones, deep catch and the finish.
The pass was perfect, because Elena Delle Donne has long arms, but only Jonquel Jones could catch that pass.
Connecticut has matched its largest lead. It's 5. Tolliver slips and travels.
Right now, Christy Tolliver's trying to do too much. The last 2 possessions, she's tried to do too much. And this is a player, you talked about it. She has hit such big shots in big moments. But Ryan, in this series, when we've seen her get into trouble, is when she's tried to do too much.
And that's something Mike Thibault said he was a little concerned about in general for his team. Strickland off on a three. That would have been a big one for Connecticut. Here's Cloud with pace up the floor, racing into the lane. Cloud has the mismatch on Jones, and Williams. Williams has moved well defensively off the ball.
Watch the placement of this pass. Elena Delegon gets hit a little bit. Man, perfect. Jonquel Jones at 6'6", but is long. And Alyssa Thomas, that's what you want to do. Throw it where only your teammate can get it.
And that was Alyssa Thomas's 35th assist of these finals, a new record. Doing this from the 4. Very LeBron-esque as Tolliver travels again.
Mike Tebow might want to take her out. Let her watch even for just a minute. But I think right now, Kristi Tolliver needs to be settled down.
Mike Tebow has said, if we just do what we do, which is chiefly move the ball, we'll be fine. Tolliver struggled some with that here at the beginning of the 3rd.
Oh, let's go.
Williams' jumper is good. It's a 7-point Connecticut cushion. Largest lead of the game for either team. Timeout, Washington.
Courtney Williams coming alive on the offensive end. Such great elevation over the center. She calls herself a walking bucket.
Wednesday on ESPN and the ESPN app, we'll have another NBA preseason doubleheader for you. Hawks-Knicks from MSG at 8. Then it's out to Staples Center for the Warriors taking on LeBron, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern with NBA Countdown. Well, Connecticut has taken a 7-point lead here in this 3rd quarter. Rebecca and Kristi Tolliver struggled quite a bit to begin the frame.
Yeah, the timeout that Mike Tebow just called was a get Elena Delegon a touch timeout. In the first 3 minutes of this quarter, great high-low again from Thomas to Jonquel Jones. But in the first 3 minutes, Kristi Tolliver had gone 0 for 2 with 2 turnovers. And before that last possession, Elena Delegon had only had 1 field goal attempt.
A 10-2 run for Connecticut. It's a 9-point lead. Delegon cutting through 2, gets it to go on the foul. And who is the foul on? It's on Jonquel Jones, and that is her 4th.
This is why you get Elena Delegon a touch, because she's been in attack mode. She comes through. Ryan, I told you at the half, this is a game 5. I want to talk about the terrific play on the floor, and I don't want to talk about the officials anymore, but the officials need to start calling a better game so I don't have to talk about them.
Well, they've called it just remarkably tight compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Which, to your credit, partner, was your worry about tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. You take advantage of that on the offensive end by attacking the rim.
And that is what Washington did, as Jasmine Thomas just keeps that in play and then drops it out of bounds. Connecticut turns it over. Jonquel Jones on the bench right now with those 4 fouls. And Kurt Miller's saying, wait, she hit it out of her hand. Shouldn't that be off of Washington? Jones going to the bench right here could be a critical moment in this 3rd.
Play through Emma Mieseman, play through Elena Delegon.
Tolliver finds Mieseman. Brianna Jones gave them good minutes in the first half. Cloud nearly traveled. Here's Mieseman on the drive, got bumped, and will shoot 2 as Brianna Jones is called for the foul.
That was a good call. She was fouled, and Emma Mieseman, we talked about it in the first half. That's a tough matchup for Brianna Jones, especially out on the perimeter. Emma Mieseman recognizes that, and you have to respect her because she's so good at shooting the perimeter shot. You go out on her, smart decision to drive.
Mieseman is an all-time great Belgian player, and so is her mother, Sonia. That is her mother.
Are we sure that's her mother?
We're sure. The wonderful woman we showed the other night was not Sonia Mieseman, but was a terrific mother of 6. So I'm glad she got her airtime, too.
So am I.
But Sonia, just like Emma, a Belgian basketball star, joining the likes of On Waters. Alyssa Thomas kicks it out. Strickland, too strong. Rebound, Delegon. Some momentum brewing for Washington.
Play through Elena Delegon.
Mieseman, the spin, the shed, the bucket.
Or play through playoff, Emma.
A 7-0 response from Washington. Williams jumper, no. Meeson in the rebound. Here comes Cloud, 2-point game. Stolen by Thomas. Thomas one-on-one with Delle Donne. Flips it up and in, plus the foul.
Elena Delle Donne does her best to avoid the contact, just to try to put herself between the basket and Alyssa Thomas to make it a tough shot. Great steal by Thomas. She goes the other way. It's another one that could be a no-call, Rye.
Thomas completes the three-point play. She's 3 of 3 from the line. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists for Alyssa Thomas. And that was a big bucket for Connecticut, who had started to unravel with Jonquel Jones on the bench. Here is Meeson and a foul called on Brianna Jones.
Yeah.
And that'll be the 4th team foul against Connecticut.
Washington has done a great job all series. If they see a matchup where they have an advantage, they pick at it and pick at it and pick at it. And they've pointed out right here with Brianna Jones on Emma Meeson that they have the advantage. They will continue to pick.
Meeson had just 2 20-point games all regular season. She has had 5 in the playoffs. 11 points so far tonight in 12 minutes for Emma Meeson, who would be a real contender for Finals MVP if Washington were to win tonight.
Pick.
There you go. Another foul on Jones, and Meeson's going to the line.
This is the thing about Emma Meeson. I mean, as a 6'5", 6'4" big, she still has quickness and good moves in the post. Yes, that's a foul. So Morgan Tuck at the scorer's table to come in. She'll be a little bit better defensive matchup against Meeson.
Shatori Walker Kimbrough saying, keep feeding her. Now's the time to get your WNBA team and league gear for the latest WNBA merchandise, finals gear, and more. Visit WNBAstore.com.
I was wearing my merch yesterday, my new black sweatshirt.
I was wearing some merch today.
You were, that's right.
Long sleeve, sort of like nice athletic wear shirt.
Yeah, that's how it's built. Nice athletic wear shirt.
And Holly's got the fanny pack going. 4-point Connecticut lead. Tuck. In for Brianna Jones, guarded by Meeson, barrels in, flipped it up too strong. Nice job on the glass by Delle Donne. Cloud around the Meeson screen. Alyssa Thomas jockeying with Delle Donne. Delle Donne bodying in and finishing. Timeout, Connecticut.
Question coming into this game, what version of Elena Delle Donne would we see tonight? We got the MVP version here in Game 5.
Elena Delle Donne, the 2-time MVP, was the difference in a Game 1 win. Got hurt in Game 2, never got quite right in 3 or 4, but has looked like herself in Game 5.
And one of the indicators of that is her ability to get to the free throw line. She's been there 5 times this game. That's because she's been active, attacking. I mean, in Game 3, she was just out there trying to avoid contact and spend time on the perimeter. We're seeing all of her skill set here in Game 5.
Pick and roll, Alyssa Thomas lays it in on a beautiful feed from Jasmine Thomas. 6 assists now for Jasmine Thomas. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists for Alyssa. And a whistle going the other way this time.
Christy Tolliver setting the back screen.
Second foul on Tolliver. Every member of the starting lineup for Washington has 2 fouls. 3 for Brianna Jones, 3 for Shekinna Strickland, 4 for Jonquel Jones, who's currently on the bench for Connecticut. And that's going to be a foul on Atkins. And that will be just the 2nd team foul against Washington. It's Strickland, Alyssa Thomas, Morgan Tuck, Jasmine Thomas, and Courtney Williams, the 5 for Connecticut. Mieseman, Tolliver, Atkins, Cloud, and Della Don for Washington. Williams turns the corner, can't bunny hop it in. Rebound, Della Don. Here comes Tolliver, who struggled to begin the third. Mieseman double coming. Williams now shades back to her player as Mieseman finishes.
Her array of moves for a 6'4" post player, joy to watch.
Thomas cuts inside, gets denied by Mieseman. Williams trying to find space, curling around, forcing it up, no. Rebound, Karams out to Connecticut. Williams will heave off. And Courtney Williams a little out of control on that possession. She's now 5 of 13 from the floor. Crowd rising to its feet. Mieseman trying to tie it here. She does! "16 off the bench for playoff Emma. 58 all. Williams jumper rolls around and in. A big bucket for Connecticut, playing without Jonquil Jones for much of this third, thanks to her 4th foul. Mieseman back to it. That one rolls off. Here comes Alyssa Thomas, a chance to push it in transition for the Sun. Tuck goes baseline. Has it knocked out of bounds, and it's going to be Washington ball. Or will it? The officials confer. And it is going to be Connecticut basketball.
Tuck driving the baseline. I couldn't tell. Did it look like it was off a tuck?
Looks like Washington got a piece of the ball as Williams is short on her jumper. And here comes Cloud. Couldn't tell if it may have last hit the hand of Tuck after the contact from Washington. Cloud will take a 3. Off. Rebound. Great job by Jasmine Thomas on the glass for Connecticut. Inside of a minute left in this third quarter. A winner-take-all, game 5 of these finals. Jasmine Thomas yet to score in this game. Banks it in. Her first bucket of the evening.
That was a good settling possession for the Connecticut Sun.
Cloud. Wow! Ill-advised, but accurate.
How did that go in?
2-for-1 opportunity for Connecticut as Thomas can't finish. And now Washington will make sure to get a good one here.
Maybe get Emma a touch.
Unless you're going to take out the protractor again if you're Natasha Cloud. Here is Mieseman facing up and hitting. And then the inbound stolen on a terrible pass from Jasmine Thomas. But here comes Alyssa. 3 seconds left in the quarter. Her floater is good to put Connecticut back in front. Clouds heave. And that'll do it for the third. Buckle up. A 2-point Sun lead after 3 quarters of play. Game 5 of these 2019 WNBA Finals. 10 minutes away from a champion here in D.C. Where else would you rather be?
Welcome back to Washington, here with the Mystics head coach Mike Thibault. And coach, you were worried that Emma Mieseman would find too much pressure on her shoulders, that she's the missing piece for the championship, but how has she answered that call tonight?
Well, she's gotten aggressive. She's gotten them in foul trouble. She's got matchups we can use, especially with Jonquil out of the game. was a big deal to get Jonquil in foul trouble. So I think that's a confidence booster too.
What will you say to your team right now about shot selection and how you want to run your offense for the rest of the fourth?
Well, I think we got to balance it. We can't go there every single time. We need to keep her fresh a little bit. But the other part of it is just don't get crazy. Get a good possession every time.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Connecticut, a 2-point lead on Washington, 9:35 to go in this fourth, and a defensive 3 seconds called against Connecticut as Elena Delle Donne, a rare miss from the line, had been 5 of 5 tonight.
Before the defensive 3 seconds called, you saw Elena Delle Donne and Emma Miesemann on the same side of the floor. Coach Thibault saying you can't just play through Emma, but they're still going to give her plenty of looks.
Keep in mind, Jonquil Jones on the floor with 4 fouls as Cloud connects on a 3 to give Washington the lead.
I question Kristi Tolliver's decision-making in the third. Great decision there.
Thomas shimmies in, floats it short. Here comes Cloud, who guaranteed a victory here in Game 5. Delle Donne, a lot of space, takes it in and lays it home. Washington, who trailed by 9 in the third, now has a 3-point fourth quarter lead. The rookie Heidemann running the point for Connecticut. Here is Jones. Jones fading away. Got it to drop. Just a brilliant performance tonight from Jonquil Jones. 21 points on 9 of 15 shooting. Here is Miesemann. Facing up. Guarded by Jonquil. Miesemann clips it off. Jones strong hands the rebound. And a foul is called against Miesemann. Her second.
Kristi Tolliver with the drive and kick. Just a great decision. She could have gone all the way, no. Has faith in her teammate. Big 3 by Cloud. Elena Delle Donne not only sees the lane, but she sees the player who's in foul trouble as the only one between her and the basket. Then Jonquil Jones loves that turn over the right shoulder fade.
1-point lead for Washington. Not anymore. We have had more ties and lead changes in this Game 5 than we had in the first 4 games combined. 8 lead changes, 13 ties tonight. Delle Donne gets a touch on Thomas. Delle Donne nuzzles in, can't bank it home. Rebound Thomas, now looking to push. Tolliver got in front of her, and a charge is called.
Alyssa Thomas put her forearm in the neck of Kristi Tolliver. I think if Alyssa Thomas had not done that, that Tolliver would have gotten called for the foul. But Alyssa Thomas, you cannot put your arm up. She initiates. If she waited to come into Tolliver, I think the foul would have been on Tolliver, but that was the right call.
And a big call at that. Connecticut running in transition. That's a huge defensive stand from Tolliver. Connecticut a 13-0 edge in fast break points in this game. Here is Tolliver, guarded by Heidemann. Tolliver's step back is off, rebound Heidemann. While Tolliver can hit those, that's not the identity of the Mystics. Good feed to Alyssa Thomas, the deep catch. Couldn't pop it in. Jones on the offensive glass, goes back up and finishes. The Bahamian beast in all her glory tonight. "23 points, 8 rebounds for Jones. Miesemann backing in, kicking out. Cloud, got it! Tied again. Tolliver with the break. Finds Cloud for two. Washington back in front. And a whistle away from the ball against Tolliver and Washington.
Tolliver had to take that foul. She was a mouse in the house with Shakina Strickland posting her up. That would have been an easy look for Strickland. Smart play by Tolliver.
High-level basketball tonight in D.C. Game 5 of this best-of-5 finals. Williams speeds inside, couldn't cup it in. And Williams has gone cold in this second half. Tolliver has the mismatch on Strickland. Will take, rims out. Thomas busting it down the floor. Another look for Williams. That one drops. $72 all. You having fun?
Do I need to talk? I'm just going to sit here and keep taking breaths. Whoa, what good basketball.
Powers gets it into Deladon. 6 to shoot. The MVP fading away and hitting. $19 points for the rejuvenated Elena Deladon. Alyssa Thomas trying to get it to Jonquel Jones. Flips it out to Williams. She forces it up. No call. Rebound Washington. Williams thought she was going to get a whistle. Did not. And now Jasmine Thomas goes to the scorer's table for Connecticut. Tolliver cuts through and scoops it in. Timeout, Connecticut.
The WNBA Finals 2019 is presented by YouTube TV and AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And Taco Bell Party Packs, the ultimate party.
Welcome back to the WNBA Finals 2019 presented by YouTube TV. That trophy will be held by one of these teams at the end of the night. Elena Deladon, Emma Mieseman, and now Natasha Cloud have all stepped up in a big way for Washington. They lead by 4. 4:15 to go in the fourth quarter. Jasmine Thomas back in for Connecticut. Here is Williams, and that's going to be a foul against Tolliver, the third team foul against Washington. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Kurt Miller, the Connecticut coach, calling that last time out and talking to his team in the huddle about their spacing. He thinks they're too congested and not running their offense. Everybody's too in the lane and not running what they want. He's like, spacing, spacing, spacing. Pass the ball. That's what's made their offense work so far.
And they have a different kind of spacing than Washington. Washington puts all 5 players out on the perimeter, spaces you out with their threes. Connecticut wants cuts through the lane. They want touches inside.
Jasmine Thomas can't hit. And another poor possession from Connecticut. Deladon with 19 already. Massages her way in and finishes. Elena Deladon on the brink of her first title. Alyssa Thomas floats it up and misses.
Connecticut needs to play through Jonquel Jones at this end of the floor. She was open on that last possession, Ryan.
Washington starting to taste it. Tolliver shielding, dishing, Mieseman. Washington run. Now Jones gets a touch and is fouled. Largest lead of the game for the Mystics. 2:41 to go in the fourth.
Emma Miesemann has all the tools and the tricks of an international player. The step through. Woo, she's been good tonight.
Sports Center tonight after Syracuse NC State on ESPN with Kenny Mayne and Kevin Connors. Those Giants-Patriots post-game reactions. ALDS Game 5 reacts. And here from the WNBA's first-time champ, Sports Center after college football on ESPN and the ESPN app. Big free throws for Jonquel Jones, who misses the first. A resounding wall of sound here at Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C., where the Mystics, down 9 in the third, have built a 7-point lead in the fourth. Miesemann turns it over, and a chance here for Connecticut.
Mike Thibault wanted that pick and pop because Washington's had great success with that with Emma Miesemann in this series, but just a tough pass by Kristi Tolliver.
Mike Thibault telling Emma Miesemann before the series, yeah, we made it to the finals without you last year, but we didn't win it. We need you. They have. She has 20 off the bench. Williams jumper, no. Jones on the offensive glass, and it's going to be a loose ball foul against Washington, and that will put them over the limit.
Jonquel Jones was calling for the basketball on the right side. Connecticut chose to go to the left side instead. So did Jonquel Jones hang her head and sulk? No. She attacked the offensive glass.
She has been a monster tonight, 24 points and 10 of 16 shooting, 8 rebounds. And she gets the roll.
This is the situation, if this free throw goes in, where you might see Connecticut apply some full court pressure.
78% from the line in her career. She misses the second. 2 missed free throws in the last 2 trips from Jones in Connecticut. 6-point Washington lead.
Middle pick and roll, look for the pick and pop.
Tolliver gets it to Miesemann. Left alone, didn't take 4 to shoot. Miesemann on the drive, got fouled and puts it in!
Emma Miesemann is a player in the regular season. Mike Thibault had to implore her to shoot, to take the ball into her own hands, to be aggressive, to look to score. Why? Because he knew that playoff Emma was living inside her. Wow, what a performance.
Miesemann misses the free throw. Jones the rebound. 22 points in 25 minutes for Miesemann. Does Connecticut have a run in there? Williams sees a lane, couldn't finish, but a whistle. And 2 free throws now for Courtney Williams.
Connecticut's was the worst free throw shooting team in the league this season at right around 70%. In the playoffs and the finals in particular, they've been great. Tonight, 67%.
And the first free throws of the night for Courtney Williams, who hits the first. Father Don has been a fixture with Connecticut in these playoffs. And Williams hits both. 6-point game. Still a lot of meat on the bone for the Washington Mystics. Each of these teams seeking the franchise's first ever title. And a whistle underneath against Alyssa Thomas. And that will put Connecticut over the limit and put Washington at the line. Now, the officials thought Mike Thibault wanted a timeout, but he did not. Players started to retreat to their benches. They won't. So Delle Donne goes to the line. She hits the first. Delle Donne 96% from the line in her playoff career. Now the official's going to go to the scores table and check on who it was that should be shooting those free throws. And it was Kristi Tolliver, not Delle Donne. So they'll wipe that point off the board, and now Tolliver will shoot the 2. No real worry for Washington. She's 88% in her career and knocks down the first.
You'll see Alyssa Thomas go right through this screen, and that's why the foul was called. So yeah, Kristi Tolliver is the one who should be there.
Tolliver has both. Under 90 seconds to go. Washington an 8-point lead. Strickland will fire. It's blocked by Miseman. They can taste it in D.C. Cloud the drive, the kick, and a block is called underneath against Connecticut.
Mike Thibault orchestrating that possession, standing at half court, letting Natasha Cloud know when it was time to go. She's been so good on these drives to the paint.
Mike Thibault, 57 seconds away from his first ever title. The winningest coach in WNBA history. As Cloud misses the free throw. But how about the performance from Cloud, hitting huge threes when Washington was down in the third, backing up her guarantee. She has 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists tonight. And hits the second. Timeout, Connecticut.
Well, Mike Thibault has been waiting a long time for this moment. He started his coaching career when he was still in high school. As a senior, an ankle injury got him into coaching, and then he went on to coach with the Lakers, where he was on the staff for a 1982 championship game. Then he went to Chicago as an assistant with the Bulls. From there, he went to the women's game, and as the winningest head coach in WNBA history, from the Connecticut Sun to the Washington Mystics, this man's journey started at a very young age. No one deserves it more than Mike Thibault through the years, all that he has given to the women's game in his history.
And he is less than a minute away from that title. Does Connecticut have a punch left in them? Williams curling, driving, leaving, and Thomas finishes it. Don't go away yet. 7-point game, timeout Washington.
Smart timeout. Mike Thibault will now advance the basketball because Connecticut can be very good putting pressure on you full court.
On there, okay? This is Elena. This is Kristi, okay? This is Emma. This is Ariel, okay? Kristi, I want you to screen for Elena. Elena, start here and go here and post up, okay? Kristi's coming here. Emma, you screen Ariel into the backcourt. Now use it and come right back to the middle. All right? Now, Derek, we have 2 more. Together. 1, 2, 3, together. They're going to trail.
Well, one of the tricky aspects of where this game is at right now for Connecticut is Washington was the greatest free throw shooting team of all time this season. They shot it as a team at 87.5%.
Connecticut's got to look for turnovers. They've got to double team inbounds and work it, but I don't know how you let Washington run out the entire shot clock before taking a shot.
If you need me.
Atkins trapped, nearly lost it. Tolliver is shoved by Thomas, and Kristi Tolliver will shoot 2.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Give yourself a chance to get a steal, but then foul.
Tolliver, 8th all-time in free throw percentage in WNBA history, and you see what the record-setting Washington Mystics have done as a team. The first goes down. 1 timeout remaining for Connecticut, 2 for Washington, both teams in the bonus. Connecticut had a 9-point lead with 6:40 to go in the third. Jonquel Jones picked up her 4th foul, went to the bench. Washington stormed back. It went back and forth till midway through the 4th. They took a 2-point lead at the 5-10 mark and haven't looked back. Williams forced it. Thomas can't grab it. Washington has it. Tolliver is fouled. It's just a matter of time now. Away from a coronation.
Hey, they're out of timeouts. We have 2. So if you get in trouble and you don't like it, they're going to take a timeout, okay? I'll try to run to the official, but they don't hear a lot right now, okay? Switch out on stuff. They're going to run a stagger or a handoff, and then
and how about the bounce back from Kristi Tolliver, who struggled in the 3rd, but has guided here in the 4th. Now 18 points in the game for the only player in this series to have previously won a finals. And Elena Delle Donne's father jamming to the beats as he knows his daughter is on the precipice of her first ever championship.
We saw Kristi Tolliver wanting this so badly in the 3rd quarter, getting sped up a bit. Well, in the 4th, good decisions. Huge free throws. This is a Washington Mystics team that told us we want to do this for Mike Thibault. We want to do this for one another.
Thomas finds Williams, her 3, no good. Rebound, Washington. Connecticut will back off. The wait is over. For the very first time, the Washington Mystics are WNBA champions. Title number 1 for 2 of this league's great luminaries, Elena Delle Donne and Mike Thibault.
What a well-coached game by Mike Thibault, recognizing mismatches and going there over and over again. And the performance by his team, yes, Elena Delle Donne, the MVP. Huge shots, but Emma Miesemann, the one missing piece that wasn't there a season ago when Washington got swept in the finals, played such a huge role here. Kristi Tolliver now with her 2nd championship.
Elena Delle Donne hugging her wife, Amanda. This Washington Mystics team, a historic regular season, the most efficient offensive team in this league's history, and they celebrate their first ever championship on their home floor in front of a raucous crowd in our nation's capital. The first title for both of those stars, Elena Delle Donne and Mike Thibault. And Holly Rowe is with Elena.
Elena Delle Donne, as you hear the cheers rain down on you, You just embraced your coach, Mike Tebow. What was it you just whispered in his ear?
I said, have I told you lately that I love you? It's kind of been our thing throughout the playoffs. Man, does he deserve this. This feels really good to get this for him.
Of all the things that you had to challenge yourself with physically, mentally throughout the playoffs, what are you the most proud of that you've overcome tonight, Elena?
I'm just so proud of this team. My goodness. The way Emma played like an absolute monster, the way Tosh knocked down huge threes, every single person deserves this. This was huge.
You were in the finals with Chicago. You came here to build something in Washington. How satisfying is it that you have helped build this moment for this franchise?
Yeah, a lot of people question why I went to a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in a while, and I saw it with Coach. I knew he was building something really special, so that's why this means so much to get this with him.
Thank you, Elena.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, a brilliant performance from Elena Delle Donne, navigating a herniated disc in her back. 21 points, 9 rebounds, and her first ever title. The Washington Mystics are champions in 2019. We'll be back with the trophy presentation in just a moment. Elena Delle Donne and the Washington Mystics, their first ever title. Time for the WNBA Finals trophy presentation as we send things over to PA announcer Mike Clapper.
Ladies and gentlemen, the WNBA would like to thank YouTube TV, the WNBA's presenting partner of the WNBA Finals. And now for the presentation of the 2019 WNBA Finals trophy and the WNBA Finals MVP award, please welcome ESPN's Holly Rowe.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to the WNBA on an absolutely unbelievable final series. I don't know about you, but that is some of the best basketball I have ever seen in my life. Connecticut Sun, you were incredible. And here to present the trophy and accept the award for the 2019 WNBA Championship from Monumental Sports and Entertainment is Dr. Sheila Johnson and Zach Leonsis. And here to present the 2019 WNBA Championship trophy presented by YouTube TV is the WNBA Commissioner, Kathy Engelbert.
Thanks, Holly. First, what a series, what a playoffs. Thank you so much to all the fans of the WNBA. I want to congratulate Connecticut. They had a great year and a great series, great fan base that we saw in Game 3 and 4, so congratulations to the Connecticut Sun. And now, we present, for the first time in franchise history, so congratulations to Ted Leonsis, Sheila Johnson, the entire Monumental and Mystics organization. Congratulations, 2019 WNBA champions.
Here you go. Hold it up, baby.
Coach Tebow, you are the winningest coach in WNBA history, but there was one thing missing from your resume. And you said that winning a championship would not validate the kind of coach you are.
But it sure feels good, though. I want to thank these fans who have come and embraced us in this building and made this the best place to play in the WNBA. Thank you so much.
As you put this team together and the chemistry started to build with this core group, losing in the finals last year, how did they start to embrace each other and play for each other in winning this championship?
Well, I think they started it a year ago. We just weren't quite good enough at the end, but it carried over to the off-season, the workouts they did. It was the first day of training camp. They had to suffer through me showing them the last few minutes of losing last year. And it motivated us to be better every day. You don't do this by looking ahead 4 months. You do it one day at a time, and this team has embraced it. We're here because an organization allowed me to come in and do what I wanted to do. Ted and Sheila and the rest of the ownership group supported us, and we've got an unbelievable family of players. They love each other, they play for each other, and they play for everybody here.
This game was incredibly close down the stretch. You thought that if your team could be themselves, you could walk away with this trophy. What was it you saw on the floor tonight that looked familiar to you?
Well, we got down, I think, I don't know what it was, 8 points, 9 points, and we came right back after a timeout. Obviously, we had some huge stretch. We got them in foul trouble. Emma went to work inside. Elena does what she does, and our guards got out and defended them. You have to beat them by defending Courtney Williams and Jasmine and those guys, and we did that. And all the players that are meant to be step-up, big-time players, they all stepped up in the fourth quarter when you needed it, knocked down our free throws, and that's why we're standing here.
Mike Thibault, can't wait to call you in the years to come WNBA champion coach.
Thank you so much.
And now to present the award for the MVP, Commissioner Engelbert.
Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. We had so much talent on the court, so much talent, but we do have to pick one MVP. So averaging 18 points a game in these finals, almost 5 rebounds a game, 22 points tonight, and she did it all series off the bench. Emma Mystics, your MVP.
When you came back from your overseas commitments this season, a lot of people said you were the missing piece. How did you take that and not let the pressure get to be too much, but really embrace the role for this team?
I was not thinking as a missing piece. I'm just a teammate from them, and I'm just going to do whatever I could to help my team to win the championship. So this is my family right now. You know, I'm just so glad that I can share this with them.
You came in off the bench and you absolutely dominated. What was your mindset as you started to take over in this game?
That trophy. It's a championship game, so that's all I needed.
As you look at how you've been able to blend back in with this group, how an MVP comes off the bench and accepts that role, how have you been so unselfish?
I'm just trying to pass the ball, so today I just shot my shot. I listened to the coach today.
You listened to the coach?
I did.
What do you say to your teammates in this moment?
I love them. Yeah, I love them. It's my family.
All right. Thank you so much, Emma Mystics, your MVP. For all of the Washington Mystics, this is your 2019 WNBA championship team. Congratulations to the Washington Mystics and the Monumental Sports and Entertainment Group.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. The first ever title for the Washington Mystics. Ryan Ruocco, Rebecca Lobo with you. Incredible game. In the end, a tremendous fourth quarter from Washington, outscoring Connecticut by 13 in that fourth. Obviously, these guys behind us.
They're pretty excited.
Rebecca, but for this Washington team, this was one of the better teams we've seen in regular season history, and then they finish it off with the championship.
And they got the championship in the same way that they got here. This is a team that had been the best offensively all season long, led the WNBA in assists per game and three-pointers made per game. It's an unselfish team. You heard Emma Mystics, Mike Thibault, Elena Deladon talking about playing for one another. Well, that's how they performed when they were out on the floor. Such a good offensive team. Tonight, they got big defensive stops when they needed to. And you and I said, you know, before this game, because we like both of these teams and coaches so much that no matter who won, we were going to feel really good for them, and whoever lost, we'd feel bad for them. This has just been an absolute joy of a series for us to call.
I mean, incredible basketball, great coaching on both sides, magnificent talent. This game was back and forth, 15 ties, 9 lead changes, but in the end, 5-10 mark, Washington took the lead, did not relinquish it. What were they able to do down the stretch of the fourth that Connecticut was not?
They were able to get stops. And when they got stops, they went the other way, and they were able to get the basketball in the hands of the players that had the mismatches that they liked, whether it was Elena Deladon or being unselfish and you know, getting Cloud the shots. Miesemann, of course, came up huge. And then the other way, they got stops and more stops, and it was the reason they were able to come back from the deficit and get this championship.
A great year for the Connecticut Sun. A tremendous season for the Washington Mystics. They are your 2019 WNBA champions. For all of us at ESPN, our producer Rodney Vaughn, our director Bonnie Riley, the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, I'm Ryan Rucco. The Washington Mystics take home the first title in their franchise's history. Title number 1 for Elena Deladon and Mike Thibault. A terrific series culminates tonight in our nation's capital. Thanks for watching, and good night from DC. Congrats to the Washington Mystics.